Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a time, perhaps many times, when someone will say something that cuts you deep. When they will act in ways that disappoint, disrespect, or demean you. And in those moments, everything in you will want to react. Emotional reaction is a natural part of being human. When someone says something hurtful or acts in a way that wounds us, it is completely normal to feel a surge of emotion. Anger, sadness, frustration, or even confusion. These feelings are indicators that something unjust has happened. They point to our sense of dignity, fairness, and value. But while feeling pain is natural, allowing that pain to guide our actions is not always wise. There is a critical difference between feeling and reacting, and the space between those two is where maturity is formed. Reacting emotionally to hurt is easy. In fact, it's the most immediate and effortless thing to do. You feel insulted, so you snap back. You feel rejected, so you lash out. It gives you a momentary release, a temporary illusion of control or dominance. But that control slips away the moment you act on impulse. Because when you react emotionally, you are no longer in control of the situation the person who hurt you is. They have managed not only to cause you pain, but now they have the power to shape your behavior, dictate your words, and influence your spirit. That is why reaction, while instinctive, often leads us down a path of regret. Words said in haste cannot be unsaid. Damage done in a moment of anger can take years to repair. Relationships crumble. Reputations suffer, and inner peace is lost, not because someone hurt us, but because we chose to let that hurt determine our response. The cost of reaction is rarely worth the fleeting satisfaction it provides. Wisdom calls us to pause, to take a breath, to observe the emotion without obeying it. This isn't denial or suppression, it's discipline. It is the kind of strength that recognizes the storm inside and chooses not to unleash it. It's the ability to say, I feel this deeply, but I will not let it master me. That is where real power lies, not in how loudly we can speak back, but in how calmly we can hold our peace. Moreover, when we choose not to react emotionally, we protect more than just our peace. We protect our relationships. We protect our purpose. We protect the person we are becoming. Every moment of restraint builds character. Every silence under fire shapes inner strength. And the person who can remain composed in the face of provocation becomes a source of calm in a chaotic world. A person others can trust, follow, and admire. So while emotional reaction is natural, it is not always the right path. The path of wisdom is harder. It requires awareness, patience, and a willingness to rise above what is easy in order to reach for what is excellent. Feeling hurt is human. Choosing not to react in that hurt, that's growth, that's power, that's peace. And that is the kind of life worth striving for. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that prizes quick responses, bold comebacks. And the last word, we're conditioned to think that if we don't say something immediately, if we don't defend ourselves on the spot, we're weak, passive, or afraid. But nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, silence, when chosen deliberately and from a place of strength, is one of the most powerful responses we can give when we are hurt. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is a disciplined choice to rise above the noise. When someone speaks out of anger or malice toward you, their words are often designed to provoke, to get a reaction. They want to see you stumble, lose composure, or retaliate. But when you remain silent, when you refuse to descend into the emotional chaos they've created, you retain full control of yourself. You send a clear and confident message, I will not be moved by your attempts to shake me. This kind of silence is not empty. It is not avoidance. It is a declaration of inner stability. It shows that your peace is not easily disturbed, and that your identity does not depend on someone else's opinion or behavior. In silence, you create space to process what happened, to reflect on the truth, and to respond later, if needed, with clarity and integrity rather than with impulse. Furthermore, silence gives you the power of observation. While others are speaking emotionally or reacting irrationally, you are listening, you are learning. You are analyzing. You are watching the character of the other person reveal itself. Silence allows you to see not just what was said, but why it was said and what that says about the speaker, not about you. You learn that hurtful words are often born from someone else's insecurity, frustration, or pain. And when you see that clearly, you stop taking it personally. Silence also protects your reputation. In times of conflict, people rarely remember the full details of what was said, but they do remember how people behaved. If you remain calm, composed, and quiet in a moment where others lose control, you gain respect, not just from onlookers, but from yourself. You build a record of restraint, a habit of discipline that strengthens you for future challenges. And finally, silence preserves your energy. Emotional reactions drain us. They leave us mentally and spiritually exhausted. But silence allows you to keep your focus on what truly matters. It keeps you grounded in your values, not pulled into someone else's storm. It keeps you building, not breaking, growing, not reacting. So the next time someone hurts you and everything in you wants to answer back, pause. Let silence speak for you. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you have the strength to choose when, how, and whether it needs to be said at all. In a loud world, silence is a mark of depth, wisdom, and unshakable strength. One of the greatest truths we can learn in life is that the moment we react impulsively to hurt, we surrender control. Not just over the situation, but over ourselves. When someone hurts us, whether through words, actions, or even silence, there is a natural pull within us to react immediately. It feels necessary. But what many fail to realize is that by reacting, we are no longer making choices from a place of clarity. We are allowing someone else's behavior to dictate our own. And that is a dangerous exchange. When someone offends you and you retaliate with anger, what has really happened, you may believe you're defending yourself, but in reality, you've allowed that person's negativity to shape your behavior. You've given them the power to influence your peace, your words, and your state of mind. You've placed the steering wheel of your emotions into their hands. It is like being pulled into a current because someone threw a stone into your calm waters. Now you are swept up in waves that weren't yours to begin with. This surrender of control often happens so subtly, we don't notice until the damage is done. We say things we didn't mean, act in ways we later regret, or make decisions under pressure that we wouldn't have considered in a calm state. All of it born from a single moment of reaction. In that moment, the one who hurt us becomes the one who controls us, not because they are stronger or smarter, but because we handed them access to our emotional system.